your perspective?
Well, I can't disagree with anybody. I would point out two things. One is a professional baseball game can take place in an expeditious fashion. A lot of people forget that when Babe Ruth hit his 60th home run, that game took 1 hour and 38 minutes. Our experience, number two, is that if we merely enforce the rules of baseball, we are going to have faster games, whether it's pitcher with nobody on base delivering the ball within 12 seconds, whether it's the batter requesting timeout before he steps out of the box, or the umpire calling the entire strike zone. So we think that there's some common sense solutions out there, at least as evidenced by our trials, that would lend itself to a quicker pace of game.
I want to ask you about your trials just now, but I want to point out we invited Major League Baseball to be on the program today. Our invitation was politely declined with the message, since the committee is just starting, I think we're going to pass, adding they look forward to watching the show. So, Rick, the Atlantic League recently took steps to speed up the pace of play. What'd you do and how'd it work?
Thanks for asking. The first thing we did was we put together a committee very similar to that which we've seen Major League Baseball pull together. It was under the guidance and chairmanship of Tal Smith, Pat Gillick, Roland Heeman, Cecil Cooper, Joe Klein. Others joined with us in this committee. And the key thing that they did was not only create ideas on their own, but they also listened to suggestions from our fans and folks who visited our games. We accepted suggestions from all quarters. That group would analyze those suggestions. They would try to think through not just the on-the-field consequence, but also some of the off-the-field business consequences associated with that. They then would make recommendations to our board of directors. Our board of directors determined to implement 5 of the initiatives they had recommended, 3 of which were enforcement of the rules I just talked about. And then we went and spoke with not only our on-field personnel, not just players, not just managers and coaches, but especially our umpires, and we asked them to adhere to these initiatives and to see how it went. The results were generally favorable for us.
Tim, you mentioned that before, just following the rules of the game. Why does that seem so difficult? It worked in Rick's case. It's working.
Well, the players have taken the rules of the game and gone in another direction, as have the pitchers. And that's the difficult part. Now we're going to ask the umpires to enforce this. And to me, they've been asked to do an awful lot here lately and ask them to enforce it. I mean, but it's time to at least experiment, as they are in the Atlantic League.